update on the more than 47,000 documents that mysteriously vanished from the government's website. You know, some of these missing files contain disturbing allegations against a person who, for legal reasons, I can't say his name.
They found the files, the long-awaited, long-buried, endlessly delayed Jeffrey Epstein files are out in the open. And Jimmy Kimmel, he walked onto that stage like a man who had been waiting for his birthday present for 2 solid years. You know, because this wasn't just a news story. This was a whole buffet served hot, with every powerful person's name written on the menu in bold. Now, if you have been following this story, you already know the basic shape of it. Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender, had spent decades collecting the most powerful people in the world the way some people collect trading cards, politicians, royals, billionaires. And when the Department of Justice finally published documents connected to Epstein's world, the internet broke in real time.
Pressure from Congress, the Justice Department, just about an hour ago, published those missing files, including a transcript of the accuser's interviews. Coincidentally, as that happened, a group of pastors showed up at the White House to pray over Donald Trump, who is definitely taking a nap in that video. If you're wondering why Bill
Clint her name you have ever heard somewhere in those pages. Here is what made those files so deliciously uncomfortable for everyone involved. It wasn't just one side of the political fence. Oh no, this was a fully bipartisan guest list. Bill Clinton's name is in there. Prince Andrew's name is in there. Prince Andrew's name is in there. And what Kimmel pointed out with that grin of his that never quite goes away is that every single one of these powerful, famous, well-connected people had the exact Kimmel wasn't buying a single word of it. He made the point that when you were connected enough to Jeffrey Epstein that your name appears in documents spanning decades, barely knew him as doing a lot of heavy lifting. That hypocrisy was the whole joke. These were the same people who gave speeches about integrity, who called themselves pillars of society, who had their assistants screen their phone calls, and yet somehow Jeffrey Epstein had all of their numbers programmed in. Funny how that works.
Of Hurricane Epstein right now. It is a Category 5. It's expected to make landfall sometime very soon. We are now one step closer to answering the question, what did the president know and how old were these women when he knew?
But here is what made this particular news cycle feel genuinely different. Because this time, the files didn't just clip the edges of the story, and they went straight to the center. And the name that appears nearly 5,000 times, not 50, not 500, nearly 5,000 times in those documents, Donald Trump, Bing's story, ready to go the moment their name showed up in print. We barely knew him. Bing, we met once at a charity event. I took a flight, but I was reading a book the entire time. In Hurricane Epstein, that's what Kimmel called it. Bing. And that is genuinely the most accurate weather forecast anyone has given in years. Because the moment those files started spreading...
in the safety of teenage girls. How about that? I think, you know what? Maybe Trump should get his gang together and say Ixnay on the teenage Earls gay this week. Let's keep that one out of the...
Donald Trump's behavior shifted completely. A man who wants you to believe he is the most confident, most powerful, most in control person in any room, started acting like someone who heard a loud knock at the front door and was absolutely not expecting company. Trump did not address the files directly. He did not hold a press conference. He did not sit down for a serious, calm interview and explain himself. Instead, he did what he always does when a story gets too close. He flooded the zone. Suddenly, there were lawsuits flying in every direction. The IRS, Harvard, the New York Times. Billions of dollars in legal action announced one after another. Each one carefully timed to eat up the oxygen, and the news is Jeffrey Epstein. Then suddenly, the memory gets foggy. The details blur, and the lawyers start doing the talking. And while Trump was busy scrambling, Melania Trump stepped in to do what she has apparently decided is her full-time role, defending a man who keeps giving everyone fresh reasons not to believe him. Was a parade of the unpleasant, and no one seemed to be enjoying themselves less than Melania. That is the look of someone who's wondering when Congress is going to vote to